everyone. Welcome back to Just Angie. My name is Ciku Mutahi and I am your host this season. The topic of the season is bridging generational gaps. We've had a few conversations. I hope you've watched them. Today, we're having the final conversation of this season, and the topic is legacy and memory. And it's all about what legacy means, what it means to be remembered well, what values are important, what is it that we should be focusing on to pass into the new generations, the next generations. Today with me, I have two very special women joining me. One, my mother, my biological mother, Flora Mutahi, and we also have my spiritual father actually, Apostle Angie Murenga. I'm so honored that you guys both agreed to be on this podcast with me. It means so much. And I really do hope that you all learn from these two beautiful, amazing, wise women this morning or whenever you're watching this. So I'd like to ask you to introduce yourselves.
Introduce myself.
Yes.
Hey, I don't even know where to start. Host of the Just Angie digital platform. But so grateful that even the conversation is so timely because passing it on to the next generation, which has been so amazing. So my name is Angie Murenga. I wear many hats. So I'm a host of this digital platform. I run a leadership training forum called the Purpose and Leadership Forum. I'm an executive certified ICF coach. So I do a lot of coaching as well and mentoring. I run a church, Mavuno Marketplace Movement, under the Mavuno Church Movements, and I've been doing that for, I think, almost 3 years now. But I've been building people and discipling people in the marketplace for almost 20 years now. So I think this is what I would say that I do. I'm a mother, mother of Althea and Matu, who also have met on this platform, and a grandmother. My greatest joy these days is grandmother title. I love that so much. And I love God, and and I'm an author as well. So I've written, I think, 3 books. I've just almost completed my 4th one. So grateful to be here.
Wow, thank you.
Thank
you. So many big things. Appreciate you. Can go next.
So thank you. Of course, I'm a mother, your mother. I also similarly wear many hats. I'm an entrepreneur. Many people know me as the CEO founder, Melvin's Tea, which I began. Actually, this year will be our 30th year.
30
Yes, in November we're celebrating our 30th birthday.
Yeah.
Also, I sit on several boards. I've chaired several boards. I've just authored my first book.
Wow.
Just about.
Wow.
Hopefully to be out when this podcast is coming out.
Wow.
Yeah, so those are the roles I would say. Of course, a wife, 3 children.
She can leave out the 2 most important. We cannot agree, Flo. First, we'll start with Forbes, please.
Yes.
I'll start so that you give it. There's no way. We are sitting with a serious award. This is a lifetime achievement. You won 2 awards, please. Can you tell us what the awards
Yes,
are?
I've won several awards, to be honest. Just this February, yes, I was honored as Forbes 50. Over 50 global list, actually.
Global list.
There were 2 of us who got it from Kenya.
Yeah.
And actually, this very afternoon, we're going to West Pokot with the Forbes women to actually mentor women and entrepreneurs there. So that's also something I think I forgot to mention.
Of course, you forgot.
Coach and mentor entrepreneurs, because what I've learned in 30 years, if they can do it in 10, we need to change the narrative of the African continent where we have too many small micro businesses.
Yeah.
I want to see large businesses on this continent, starting from Kenya and going everywhere else.
Yeah. And there was another award you won quickly after that. The business one. Following that one, there was another one.
Yes, you're right. There was something from London. Some entrepreneur award. But yes, Angie, you're right. I've received a lot of awards.
And you have to say them, Flo. These are great achievements. Not everybody gets a global award. So anyway, I'm glad you have mentioned that.
Yeah.
So I asked the both of you to introduce yourselves because very rarely do I find that the people who've achieved a lot wear their accolades, share their accolades. I don't know if they're proud of their accolades. It almost seems like it's a secret. And I don't know why. But the importance of this conversation today, speaking about legacy and memory, is what will they say about you? How will they remember you? And a part of that is all these things that you've accomplished, being visible, accessible, known, so that we also have somewhere to look to, someone to aspire to, and not a book somewhere hidden at the bottom of the like the library, for example. So as we start, we'll start light, and it's just an either or, a quick fire. You just say which one is you. So, voice notes or messages when you're
Voice-
communicating?
voice
Which one
notes.
do you prefer?
I think, I don't know, can I say both? Because sometimes I want the voice notes, but then again, I find they get lost somewhere in the messages, and maybe written messages. People will have more access to them. So maybe both.
Both. Did you answer? You said?
Well, actually, voice notes are just easy, especially now. I'm finding them so easy to do. But yes, a nice message will always have more impact. Yeah, because you've taken time to write it, to think it through. So messages.
Okay. Books or oral stories?
I think books, because you can take a book anywhere. You can take it somewhere. You can read it anywhere. People read them on, But then again, I guess maybe it's aging me, because also oral stories, everybody's with they call their earpods, and there's
The
a lot more
podcast
audible.
and
I think it people press, but I think books is something that I'm into books.
Yeah. Okay. You?
I like great stories. I would listen to stories or do podcasts way before I read a book. And now we can store them, which I never remember where they are, but anyway.
Wow.
I think stories and people who tell stories well would be my preferred.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. All right. Last one. Legacy or reputation?
For me, definitely legacy. Definitely legacy. Reputation. Hey, we can't. I don't know. When I think about it, when you sent that question, I thought about it. I found arguments that they are both important, but legacy will do you better than reputation for me. Because when I think about it, and even when I look at, because now I'm looking at my own legacy, which is Althea and Alora, my legacy will help them and has helped them already. I can see it in Althea more than my reputation. Because sometimes if I say reputation, we may want to protect elements of our reputation. But the thing that I kept hearing is, how's my reputation going to help her? Yes, people say it can open doors, a good name, but my legacy is going to be a better stepping stone foundation, sort of like, I felt like earth moving than my reputation.
Wow, interesting.
Interesting.
I think it's an unfair question.
That's good.
Yeah,
really,
because my reputation will help me build my legacy. I mean, you've seen people who do great. They'll come to Africa, they'll feed Africa, but when you go into their reputation, it's a mess. So I think they are pretty tied, and to put them to separate them, I think is really unfair. Like I would say, but to answer your question, I know you don't quit easy. I think with Pastor Angie, I'll go for legacy.
Legacy, yeah.
The reason for the question is, which one should we focus on? Should we focus on building a legacy, or should we focus on our reputation?
So for me, I said I was going to be vulnerable. You know, in some places, my reputation is short. There's no reputation. People are like, that woman, we don't even want to see her. There are people who know or say things about me. They don't really know me, but they've heard stories from other people. So they've given me a reputation. And it may not be the accurate reputation, because I always say, in every story, there's another story. Like you're hearing something about me, but you probably don't have the context. Yeah, you don't have the context of the situation. You don't have the context of why maybe I reacted the way I did. You don't have all those things, but you've pieced together things, and you decided that woman, she stays there, me I stay here. You know. So I feel sometimes, and it's not all, because I've also learned it's not all bad. I do have a great reputation in some places, but in some places I don't have a great reputation. But the thing is, me, I still have to continue doing my legacy things. Whether my reputation is great or not great, I still got to do the things I'm doing. And then there'll always be, from what I've learned in my life, there'll always be people who need what you what you have.
Mm.
So if I focus or I let reputation, the places where I don't have such a great reputation, stop me, then I'll stop doing everything for everyone. But I can't. And then I can't explain myself. I used to love explaining myself. Like I really did. Like I don't know. Once I was on radio, I used to hate media, or not hate, fear media. And I didn't know why. So if you told me when I'm going to do Just Angie, I'd have told you you're crazy. But so I'd go to radio. So I went to a radio station. I think it was a radio station, but somebody sent in a negative comment. I almost fired. I was like, what's their number? I've got to call them and talk to them. How can they say this? And the presenters were laughing, falling all over the floor, telling me you cannot respond to every comment. And also people have a right to think what they think. So you cannot respond because I wanted to correct it. So I think that's the same thing with legacy and reputation. To some people who know you, it because life is life. Yes, it may be that my reputation is not great with you for a good reason, but my legacy is everything. Yeah. And I think leaving fruit. So I don't know whether I've answered. Yeah, so leaving fruit, because people will know. The Bible is right when it says they will know you by your fruit. It's your fruit. Yeah. Flo has been running these amazing mastery courses. It's the fruit that will speak. I was with her when she started her business. I mean, I cannot believe I was there riding with her in the wooden car. You know, first of all, why was the car wooden?
It was cheap.
I don't understand. No, but I've never seen another wooden car.
Left-hand drive
I
pickup.
have never seen another wooden car. She's the woman. I think maybe
looked
they're
like a
marks
hearse.
of
Can you
distinction.
remember?
Yes, we used to call it the husband. Why did we have a wooden car? Why
It was
the car
left-hand
half
drive.
wooden?
It was cheap. I couldn't afford anything else.
But that's not it. That's not the fault. Who created a car that is half wooden?
It was American, remember?
Come on. So I was in that car. I've watched you build your business. I've watched you even people try to buy your business. I've watched you have, it's crazy because I can see it all in my head. I've watched you even say, I'm going to sell this business, and we were having a very good conversation about how, we didn't sell it. It's not even mine, but it was yours. But I've been on this journey, but look at the legacy that has come out of this journey, including a Forbes recognition.
The other one was head of state recommendation as well.
Head of state. Yeah. Come on. Off coming from the wooden car. Let's stick with the legacy. Let's stick with the wooden legacy. And I always remember you even doing your labels. Remember with Kigi?
Yes,
I remember such things.
Yes.
With such
creating
distinction.
Melvins, like we're going to call the brand this and yeah.
But I think for you, legacy, you've continued it, and this is amazing. This is crazy. And if you look at it, now I'm talking too much, but even your mom was an entrepreneur. So there's something your family, but even your mom and both your dad.
Remember, my dad started the bank.
Yes,
he had the credit finance.
You see, so this is all from when I look at it. This is all stemming from legacy. Yeah,
reputation can be manipulated as well. Because reputation, those people will say, when you're there, how did she show up? And we're very good at the cosmetic.
Yes.
I dress well, like I'm in the big car, but what am I doing behind the scenes? And legacy, remember, is tried and tested.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's where we should be spending the time. And unfortunately, a lot of that time could be under what is being seen. And I think people don't want to do the cute work.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm jumping ahead of myself, but
no.
Yeah, but it's so true.
No, I completely agree, because legacy, I think also legacy leaves room for mistakes and corrections.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's part of your legacy.
Yes. It's a long journey.
Did wrong, how you correct. It's part of your legacy. Reputation, as you said, it needs to look cute and pretty and perfect, which really is not. It's not real. It's not true.
I don't know whether I can say this, but even when I watch Alora, the best thing, this being a grandmother, I watch Alora, and Alora is a lot like me, much to her mother's horror. But now I see the things that I really need to not only pray, but correct. Things that happen in my own life that I am so clear we're going to have to talk about this, train about this, equip about this, because I don't want her to repeat the same cycle. Now that's the power of legacy.
Wow. Amazing. Now you both, in your different areas of influence very many people, be it through mentorship, training, coaching, stewarding in their walks of faith, whatever that looks like. And a lot of people see the glitz, the glam, the awards, the podcast when you've done your makeup and we're all looking good and speaking well. But what is some of the work that has gone on behind the scenes for you to get to a place where you're now sharing with another generation, the next, on what it is that you've learned? Like, what are some of the things that you had to fight, kick and scream through? And I guess now that you're mentoring, I guess these are the lessons that you're passing on. So what are some of those those big moments?
Let's start. Yes.
Okay. Mine was I finished my degree, and then I got into an employment, and I got into auditing. Can you remember?
Yes.
And I didn't feel it anyway. Skipped through 9 months of it, and then I was like, no, I want to be an entrepreneur. I guess I lived in an entrepreneurial home. I love creating. I love solving problems. And I came home and I told my parents, voila, this is what I have to do. And they were like, no, girls don't do this. And I now understand them, but their issue that time was women you need security, stay in a job, you're not going to get married. And this was what was going on in their generation, because I remember that's what they used to tell me, who will marry you, and etc, etc. So having to fight through that, when I watched my brother being given a silver plate, whatever he wanted. And that was the first time, first of all, I saw a gender divide in our home. Wow. So you can imagine in my 20s, I'm seeing what? All of a sudden I'm female and I'm different. And so having to fight that through, having to look for my own funding, because they were like, I don't know what part you're not getting, we're not supporting you. So having to make that work took me, Angie, remember, I had to buy a left-hand car, whatever. I had to look for my own money. I had to look for my own ideas. Eventually, within about a year or two, they came round and they apologized, and they actually said their problem was not, they didn't believe in me. Their issue was they were worried that I was making a wrong decision for what they had wanted for me. So what that has now made me do is, about 2023, I walked into my office in January. I've told this story, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I've built the business. It is still going. I'm still there, but I can't do it aggressively anymore. How about I become that bridge of those for people who maybe want to to get into entrepreneurship, or they're in and they want to scale their businesses. And that's how my Scale Mastery program became. So last year I spent my whole time writing the book and preparing myself, because I want to change the African narrative. I want, like I said, I want businesses to be big and to be bold and to be from the African continent. Because when I looked at the statistics, they say, I think 1 in 10. No, I think African businesses don't pass the second generation. So that's the first problem. Wow. The second problem is they all tend to be small, and they all tend not to go into the next level. So that's why then I decided I would like to scale. So there are different issues, whether it is mindset, whether it is skills, whether it is tools, whether it is just fighting your family, or and then looking for resources, because they definitely were not there. So for me, I just hope other women, girls, youth as well, because I do both men and women now. I don't want them to go through what I went through, or even if they have to go through, let me speed them up, because this narrative on this continent has got to change.
Wow. Yeah. It's amazing. That's so passionate. I think for me, 2 different things have happened. One, therapy. And I'm an African woman. I was like, I'm not going to. I said, I'm not going. I'm not going. CND. Therapy is not for us. The drama was excess. So the first time I went, because I went with the mindset, this is a lot of nonsense. It failed miserably. But then I can't remember how long the time went, and then I said, okay, I think we need to do this. And the best thing for therapy was hearing Althea's perspective. I'd never have heard her perspective when I think about it now. I had a perspective
of what you thought her perspective was.
Of how things went and the narrative. Me had my story.
Yes.
But I think for me, the greatest thing about therapy was hearing her story. And I'd never really heard it. And then there was peace. We can't talk to each other. So the therapist was there. And then it even became so bad we couldn't even talk. She made us write, which worked. Yeah, talking cannot. Everyone has their story. So we wrote down, and then we spoke these things to each other. So for me, I think that was my first breakthrough in terms of, there's another perspective. I was actually quite shocked to this whole thing, because there's a perspective I have that I know, but there was another perspective which I hadn't considered. So that was one. And then the other thing I'm thinking is when my late dad passed away. First, I think we're in a level of limbo for like 3 years. You just look at each other like we don't even know what to do. But I think realizing that he built something now we need to build on. Is something that has really been predominant in this season and has brought a change. That's the other thing. I don't know why we assume so many things. This man lived and we just assume things away. Now when we look at it, we're like, oh my God, he built something and he built it very quietly. But now we have to build on what he's building, and then I think continue to build people.
Amazing. You mentioned, you have something to add?
Yes, it just made me remember when she went back to parents. I have, Shosho, my mother is wise for days.
Yes.
And I think also my just wanting to coach and mentor is just passing it on because, she would ask you things like, do you think this is the largest tragedy you're going to face? And that just really braves you up. And that time, by the way, my whole business had been robbed, everything. And I'm there crying, looking for sympathy. And she says, do you think this is the biggest tragedy you're going to face?
Wow.
It's like, wow. So that wisdom and that passing on is one of the reasons I started writing my book, and I want to give it to to young entrepreneurs, and hopefully, and Angie, we're going to do this together. We're going to get her to write. She's starting to warm up, so we're going to get her to write her book. Yes, because her wisdom is something else. I mean, she tells of a story where her siblings would go to school. She was a middle child, and she started following them to school and came and said, "I want to go." And the grandfather said, "I don't have money for you. You're too young." So she said, "It's only money." And she went and collected wattle seeds in the forest and literally sold them and came back and said, "I have my 50 cents now for school fees." And the mother said, "No, you need a shilling, but let me give you some eggs to go and sell." And she sold and she went to school. Now, what is that? Just a drive, a determination. It is a story that needs to be told.
This is it. And for me, even like my dad was in a wheelchair for 40 years. Sometimes I think when you're going through it, you go through it. But then realize if I couldn't, sometimes I sit and I say, if I couldn't move, I mean, that's the end of life. What are we doing? But he soldiered on. He built quietly. The most outstanding legacy quietly. Like what? Me now, what are we gonna do? We have to do like much better. The man couldn't even move his body. And he did it. So what excuse do I have?
And taking risks at those ages. I mean, wow.
And coming from nothing. You see, and I always say that. I think for me, that's why sometimes he was very frustrated with us. I used to wonder, why is this man frustrated with us? We're doing our best. But it's because you guys are joking. This book came from poverty, very crazy poverty. Then it was only one way. It was make it or break it. And he had to make it, isn't it? So to break through that wall takes determination. Then to be paralyzed at the age of 40-something and still continue to live life with passion is, I don't know. So we have no excuse.
It's amazing.
We have no excuse. We also come from strength.
Yes.
So we've got to move that strength and move it
to
forward.
the next.
Yeah.
So where do you think we're missing the mark? Because I've had conversations like this with people my age, or maybe slightly older, and some of the things that come up is, I don't know anything about the people that came before me. Or, for example, some of these stories, like about my own shosho, that one I've heard.
Yeah.
But there are many others that one day I hear them and I'm like, that's the first time I ever heard something, So other than maybe not passing on the stories or the whatever it is, where else have we missed the mark? And maybe you can look at your lives and who you've learned from and who you're passing on to. Where are some of the gaps? Like, where are we dropping the ball in terms of pushing forward or transferring this legacy that is not just about, wealth, what, but it's a whole character, It's the strength, it's the determination, the drive, the emotional, whatever, all of that. So where are we missing the mark? If I was to
First
ask
of all, I think
you?
for me, I've been encouraging families. That's why we're really going to encourage mom to do that book. I remember encouraging my dad to write the book, Destined to Leave a Legacy, because before 40, there was no legacy. But after that, there's some sort of determination and drive that came in. And when he wrote the book, then we have elements of him. So I've been encouraging people and families to even write a book to the family, only to the family.
Keep it inside the family.
If you want to just keep it in the family, so that we have an impression of who you are, what your values are, what your life experiences are, what you learned. Because I always regret I didn't ask my dad how I knew some of the stories of how he made it, but there are other stories now that I need to know. Like, what drove you? What was that drive about? Did you have fears as you stepped out there in the world because you were alone? So we want to know your fears. We don't want to know only the good things. We want to know the bad things. These are the mistakes I made. These are the things I learned. This is how I did it. Like, we've got to hear mom's 30-year story of how do you stay behind a brand and even say, I wanted to sell it. I was done. I had a wooden car, the things I had to do to make it, because that will let people know us. So I think every family and different family members need to put a collection of things together that say who they were, whether they are books, whether they are the oral stories, whether they are podcasts, because that's the only way. Because right now I always feel like I should have sat with my dad more and found out more about him. Yeah, and more about even where he grew up and the mind. So there are little things I know, but we're not talking enough. So even for people who have parents now, talk to your parents, talk to parents, talk to grandparents, be interested, because I think sometimes we're in our own world doing our own things. One, it could be, yes, we're trying to survive, thrive and all that, but we're not finding out who makes me who I am. Yeah.
Wow.
If you look back to our African context, storytelling was a big thing. And storytelling was told in the village by your shosho, by everybody. So if it's not your parents passing down, it was your auntie, your uncle. That statement, it takes a village. And I believe that's what we've lost. And we've lost it in this individualism and I am who I am and don't tell me and rolling my eyes and talk to the hand. I think we all have to come down and actually see your past determines a lot of your future, your values, your principles, your beliefs. But it then means for us to learn how you guys are, and similarly for you guys to sort of come and meet us halfway. So I think it's for us to everybody to go back and actually say, I need to go back to my roots. And if you look at some tribes, let's say like some people like the Jews, they do it up until today. They have rituals that they maintain and they keep. But for us, I think we lost a bit of our Africanism along the way, and I think we need to bring that back: the storytelling, the reading, and so as much as we need to write the books, we also need to tell, and we also need to respect. I mean, today if I want to discipline somebody's child, I almost have to ask for permission. As when we were growing up, we went to her house and her mother felt like she needs to discipline. It's not
strangers in the street. You don't remember strangers used to complete strangers would discipline us. Do you know that?
But today I'll give you a lawsuit. Angie, you do that to my child, I'll come with a lawsuit.
Complete strangers would sue us. The other thing I want to say is, because she mentioned Israel, once I watched in Israel and I said, oh my God, this is why there's a success rate of family time, building social connections. So we were in a room and there were like almost, I think, 200 tables. And it was, the man was at the head of the table, seated next to his wife and his children, every table. And they do that I don't know, it's every Saturday or Friday, I can't remember. But every week, they sit as a family. You see now that one we lost completely. So they sit as a family. It depends. They sit as a family and have conversations. First of all, for them, I think the father first blesses the wife, then he blesses his children, then they sit and have a conversation. We've lost that. We've lost that coming together and even sitting around a table, no gadgets, no screen time, what. Let's just talk to each other. We don't even know how to talk to each other.
That is true.
We don't know how to talk to each other.
But Angie, we go back. Why are we letting it happen? Is it we don't see the importance of the connection? Is it we're allowing Gen Z to tell us what to do? What is it?
I think we're tired. Me, even Gen Z, sometimes they scare me. They scare me. I'm like, now if I say this, I have to think about it. But I was telling Ciku. I told her, hey, me now, Ciku, me, I put my foot in it. Mara, I say this. But then again, I was like, stop being afraid of saying, but they're also tiring. They're like, look, you don't know everything. And then the thing is, sometimes you're like, let me tell you, God forbid, let me pray for you. I pray life does not teach you because this is not going to be a pretty lesson. So I think for me, we don't have the energy. They have fought and fought and fought. Although I feel that there are things they are good for. I really feel like they are a generation that has been both. Every generation is birthed to fulfill a purpose. I believe Gen Z has been brought forth to fulfill purpose, and I really believe they're going to fulfill their purpose. But sometimes it's just tiring. It's just tiring. You can't speak to people who know everything. You need to speak to people who we know some things, but there's some things we don't know, and we're ready to hear what it is that you have to say. And then also, I think for us, I don't know, maybe, and then for us, when I look at myself, we were a very fearful generation. So now, confronting is not always.
It's not always a solution, but there's always things are also in season. Because remember how your mother was perhaps not your best friend.
Yeah.
The day you even thought you were pregnant, she became best friend number one.
And raising the children.
Has never, whatever. These days when I'm really down, I find myself right there. Hi, mom. You know.
Yeah.
And it's not even like she's gonna tell you much, but just that warmth and
Comfort.
sharing your experience, just whatever. So everything perhaps has a season. So I think to tell you, I don't think we've lost it. I think we've just been a little bit casual about it. But it is there, and maybe we do need to be intentional. And I do not know homes where they are very intentional. The father leads and he says, "This is what we're going to do. This is what's going to happen," and and the rest have to toe. And you'll tend to find that family will keep their generational wealth, not only in terms of just wealth, but actually more tradition, values, and whatever. I do know families that actually even have family retreats. And come out with vision boarding.
I saw that.
Vision boarding for the family.
Wow. Yeah.
Actually, it's part of your family. You need to invite them soon.
And also, I saw a family that just before Christmas, they go all of them.
Yes.
And there's no we're missing this because that's what I saw with those. There's no at you're busy or not coming. This is where you need to be on Saturday. So I think also families, we need to become very intentional in terms of this is what is going to happen, and that is it. And there's no other. We don't have time because those families work where the law is sort of laid down. The things we do together as a family, they are laid down. We spend time with each other, whether we like each other, don't like each other. That is irrelevant. This is what we do as a family. That's a good one.
Because families are foundation of society.
They are.
So if we get it wrong there, then so maybe there's a time. This could be a moment where we all need to come back and say, actually, what does my family stand for? What does my family mean? And especially in terms of legacy, because it's not going to be the wealth that is going to hold you together. It's going to be the values, the stories, and the and the reputation. And I do know right now a lot of organizations are actually starting to have, I mean, okay, they've been there, but it's becoming more of a thing where they're doing family constitutions, having family offices, and they're now not only just dealing with the wealth, they're actually now coming to deal with the values and the behaviors and the principles and what's expected. So I think it's important, if we don't want to just be a Me Too, very short-lived, one generation family and start again. I mean, the effort, Angie, of starting again, what Mr. Murenga has built. Why can't we now be the ones taking it forward? Why are Africans 2 generations we are done? In business, the statistics, we don't, I mean, I think it's like 1 in 2 or 3 that actually go beyond 3rd generation. It's not right.
It's really
not
bad.
right.
And then even when I was reading about generations, I heard that in 3 generations, one has the most potential to destroy everything. I was like, hey,
that's the third.
Let me tell you. So now those we're working on them now. We're like, let me tell you, come here. We are not even joking with you because this has been built on blood, sweat, and tears. We're also now trying to build something else. You're not going to be the people. We are moving forward. So also equipping them to also be able to build so that the generation keeps going. We're even creating policies and charters because we have to guide. Where there's no guidance now, we're going to guide you. This is what we do. So create policies and charters and constitution, I guess. That
family
guides,
constitutions.
Family constitution that guides things forth.
It's actually said 1 builds, 2 maintains, 3 destroys.
Hey, please no.
So no,
don't even say that. God forbid. God
no.
forbid.
I think the beginning of anything is always awareness.
Yes.
So now that the awareness is there, let's speak about it. And then let's deal with it.
And let's count. Let's try to do our best.
Like you say, Angie, therapy was a few years ago. You say therapy, you're told way come up. So
like,
now that has changed.
It's
totally different.
Interesting. I think from this other generation perspective, I think for me, and I actually had this conversation in the last episode with Apostle George. He said one of the things the greatest things we're missing is time.
It's time.
And we're not spending time
together.
Because you need to spend that time to instill the values, instill the the character, all those things, which then allows them to steward their wealth, their what, like it's in that time. So he was actually saying we need to spend more time to create more time. It's like for later, this is the investment, this is the sacrifice. And I think for a lot of the people that, people that I know, the stories that you hear about, it came, it went, it came, it went. The sacrifice and the time spent was not in the home. And it's not to point a finger or anything, but it's maybe that's where we need to go back to.
And it's so true, because also on this side of the continent, at least, we can do that because we have people to help us do different things, isn't it? So sometimes I think it then has to become an intentional choice, because sometimes we just don't want to. I find people run away. Maybe they want to spend all the time at the office, or spend time with their friends, or spend time doing other things, and not spending time on their children, on their family, and building the values. So I think that's a good one, because in other countries they don't really have they don't have the help that they need, but we do. So I think we have to be intentional about it. We have to be intentional about the time that we create for our families, and we can do it because we have help in so many ways.
It's true.
Creating time is important, but Angie, for them it's even worse, because I think it's better, because chores have to be done. So you'll tend to find in the home, when I get in, hey, have you done the laundry? Da, 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 da. So you're still together on the home front. Here, you can actually avoid your home completely. And for me, I believe it's not we lack time, we are not creating the time. And what we are doing is we are chasing the faucets, the big car. And unfortunately, one of the reasons we are here is because we glorify it. Oh, did you see what car I came in? Can you see the value of my bag, my this? We glorify the glam. And as long as you glorify the glam, we'll chase the glam at the expense of the legacy. Nobody wants to turn around and do the heavy lifting, because it is heavy lifting. It is heavy lifting when you're going to be telling Alora, listen, we're not going to that club. Today, actually, it is a family retreat. People don't want to face those kind of issues. So they're like, oh, these kids these days, it is us who need to change that narrative. The same way it was done for us. And we need to continue it and have the courage. It's also a lack of courage to a certain extent, where it's live and let live. It cannot be live and let live. That's why you have rulers and servants and policies and policies and laws. And it's your time. It might not be your time, you're under your parents, but it will be your time at your time. So I think also just that respect of all that can also be just a lack of guidance. And again, it goes back to me and family values. I really think a lot of these values need to be dealt with in the home, and they can only be dealt with if we are intentional and if we make the time. And then also have the grace, like Pastor Angie is saying, to also try and understand you, because you guys are different. But if we sort of tried to understand and went to counseling and did whatever we did, you'll get there. No,
definitely. And we had a conversation about legacy at the Inspired for Significance event earlier this year, and I just shared that one of my biggest takeouts was, am I ready, or am I preparing myself, or have I created space for anything to be passed to me? Even a mindset, even a story. Have I even put myself in a position to hear? You can almost approach it with entitlement and say, because I'm younger, because you must or you should, or but have I created space for any of that to happen? So I also have a role in making sure that, as you said, you went to sit with your dad. Am I sitting with my father, to hear from him, and allowing whatever needs to be passed on to be passed on? Am I humble enough to listen? Can I be corrected? So I think for me, that's one of my biggest challenges. I was just like, wow, we keep talking this big talk about what people want to pass on, but to who? And are these people aware what that means and how big it actually is? You're carrying for a generation, So there's also a responsibility on you. It's not just a given because I have the name or whatever.
And I summarize it in just calling it character. Do you have the character that our generation would say, actually, yes, this child is ready, or this child can be mentored? And even if not, it's not a must that somebody comes in, but equip yourself to understand the traditions, the wealth, or whatever is there, so that you can create, either put in management to make sure it happens. And this is what I was saying, the family offices, and I mean, these consultants are now doing for families, saying, yes, you might not want to take your father's business, but what you could do is actually understand it, create management, and maybe this business will be the springboard to your business. So again, you're springboarding on that one, the connection, actually you're good in, this is the area you want to go. Let us support you in that. This is something that I feel Africans, especially in Kenya, we are not doing. You tend to find a generation is one and gone. And our prayer, of course, is that we'll be able to do that. And we know it's heavy lifting. We know there's a lot to be done. But our prayer is that we'll be able to do it and to equip others to do the same.
Wow. Okay. So we'll be wrapping up soon. But as we wrap up, I think for the both of you, what is it that you would want your, let me say, great grandchildren to know about you, and how would you want them to feel about you? And when I say feel, it's almost like, because I guess your legacy and all of that will be recorded and written down and shared, they say it's almost like I know you because you've left me with something more than, what would I say, more than a material thing. Like, what would you want them to? My great grandma Apostle Angie Murenga was, and it makes me feel, or it has inspired me to, like, what would your dream be?
First of all, for me, because I think that the power of intercession, and that I really tried and done my best to ensure they have a path. So I thought about ease, access, favor, the ease, the access, the favor, the gifting, the blessings, the ease with which they flow is because we paid a price. When I think about it, my grandmother was a crazy intercessor. Like, she was a crazy intercessor. My mom has done intercession to a certain level, and then here I am, and I'm hoping Althea will pick it up. But yeah, because so for me, it's a spiritual lineage of being able to pray, and it provides you access to the things that you need to get. So breaking things, breaking generational patterns, breaking things, because that's me. My purpose is to rebuild, raise, restore, and renew the devastation of generations. To understand that you're living life because somebody else paid the price before. I think determination is something. Coming even from my own dad, sitting in a wheelchair and being able to do things. We just do things as we don't. There's no time to collapse in a heap. Zero. You wake up and you get it done. Yeah. So determination is something else. And knowing what to do and then doing it. I think one of the statements, like I always say, is always be in the right place at the right time with the right people in the right season, doing the right thing. That is something that I would want them to embrace. Like, always be, put yourself on the right side of things, and never put yourself on the wrong side of things, but be determined to grow and to do all that you did. And I've written now, it's in 3 books. The 1st one is about to come out. I have like a few more. So I think they'll always know that. And then the podcast. But I still want to do that document about what I valued, why I valued it, my experiences, why I had these experiences, my shortcomings, my failures. Those are the things I want them to know. Yeah. And I was human, I made mistakes. But I think the best thing about mistakes is the ability to bounce back. Bounce back from that mistake, or even go to therapy after so many years. I even wrote a statement. I said, how can I discover myself and who I am at 59? This is ridiculous, but it's okay. It will help somebody. It will help me, and it's a different journey. So I hope I've answered your question.
No, you definitely have. You pointed out something so important. The whole writing down your mistakes and the lessons you learned so that they can bounce back. Because sometimes you hear, we all hear that story of went to school, one shoe, top, everybody was number one. I never, nothing ever, So when now we get to a point, and I guess your guys also went through it, where you're struggling or you're failing or whatever it may be, you're like, you don't even know who to turn to, because this guy is a superhero, this is a superwoman, So like, who is the real person? Who do I even ask? How do I overcome these challenges? So I think that's also really important.
Yeah.
So for me, what do I want said? I think my first message would always be, follow your passion. and have the courage to stand up for yourself because nobody else will. Do it with humility. Understand the ones in your way so that you're not assuming, an accident. I mean, you're not assuming what they're saying, but you can circumvent it based on what you really believe in. You know very well, I believe in innovation, always be pushing the boundary. I really, if there's one thing I believe in is the future. I have so much hope in the future. I have so much hope in learning and growing and doing. That one thing, I don't even like, how people like soul music. I can only take it to a certain point, and then I'm like, no. Can you play me what's coming on? Can I see what's the latest? Can I? Yeah. Because there's for me, a red flag comes when I start saying I used to be.
Yeah.
That is a statement I don't want to come out of whatever, because it means you're living in your past. I believe very much in really just pushing through. Where do you want to be? Stop, evaluate, reflect. All those are values that really help you chart where you want to go. And because you don't want to go in the dark, you have to then widen your scope. So travel, see the world, expose yourself. Always be in spaces where people are better than you. And actually, I think to an earlier question you asked us right at the beginning, what keeps us so humble? Like for me, it's because I'm always in spaces where people are so much better than me. When I was in KAM, I was the smallest organization and they had the humility to ask me to chair the board. I was like, what? And when you listen to what they're turning over and what they're doing, you're like, wow. But what did that do? It continued to give me a drive to grow. So I always tell people, please don't be the king in a small town. Please, I'd rather be a small person in a huge environment, and I know that I'm just growing. So that for me would be what I'd want people to remember me for. And now I've had a blank.
But I just feel like also just to share from her story, I think also for me is create your own unique journey, because I think my journey has been very unique. Our journeys have been very unique. So create your own journey and stick with that journey. Don't try to conform or to be like everybody else. I think that's been very important. And I think from Flo and listening to her story also is that we're very strong women. So just be strong. You know how people try not to
they try to dim your light.
Just refuse for that light to be
but
dimmed.
do it in humility.
Do it in humility. But do what you need to do and just forge forward and just break through the walls, the barriers, the limitations. Just keep going. But I feel like there's also a very unique expression of what I've lived, but it's all of us as well. So just live that unique expression. Yeah.
I think for me, I would want some people to say she built more than a business. She built people who can build on themselves. I want people to know that, to feel that I am empowered as a mother, as an employee, as a person. And there's that the African statement that says, when the roots are deep, it doesn't matter when the wind is blowing, because the roots are deep.
The roots are deep.
And that's what I would want to be remembered for.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And that now it's too much, but I drew potential out of people. I have this uncanny gift of seeing potential in people that they cannot see in themselves, and I'm able to draw it out. Even with Althea, I feel like there's a gift that God gave me, and it gives mothers and fathers to draw the potential out of your child, and not to allow them to faint or to move back, which I think also speaks to us as well. We can't faint because we can't. Courage. We can't show them, because then if we do, then they'll not be able to do what they need to do when they need to do it.
And I also believe every generation, I think Pastor Angie, you said that, is given their charge. Yeah. So we had our generation who took over after our parents, and your generation has their charge. It could be this Gen Z, it could be just fighting through, it could be changing. Maybe perhaps you guys are the ones who are charged to change the narrative. Yeah. But change it, learning from behind as you go forward. Because again, with deep roots, there's some principles that need to be in place.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
That's really well said, Flo, because you do. The behind is also, you see, that's why you said, there's a place you said, we can't just ignore behind as well. Yeah, we can't ignore the past. There's a foundation here that has built you to the place. So you've got to also pay attention to that, pay attention to your current, but I love it also, pay attention to the future.
and a sense of entitlement. I think it's something that
It just
we
happens.
all need to pray against. Yeah, I think just honor what you have and continue to build it because you're getting what somebody else got from somebody else.
Wow. Okay. So as we wrap up, any questions, comments that you might have for me today, and maybe some of the people that I'm representing? Anything?
I think for me, because I'm starting a series also even later today about finding and owning your voice, I think it's important. I think you're finding yours. I really feel like you're finding your voice, and I just pray that you continue using it. Don't hold back. You find that voice, speak what you need to speak, and it's to you and to the others. And I feel like everybody needs to find their voice according to their, I want to say, their level of vulnerability and your audience. Yeah. So I've been saying whether you find 5, whether it's 10, whether it's 15, whether it's 20, whether it's 100, you need to find your place. But we all have something to say.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. Yeah. There's a place I was like, hey, these are too many podcasts. No, they can, maybe that's the season. But people have to find their voice and be able to express it. And I think that's very, very, very important. And I don't know why, but stepping from Flo's mom is, if life is trying to block you, you've got to find a way. If she found a way to get, I think, wattle seeds from the forest to sell them, I mean, please, I think you have more resources than that. So whatever it is your vision is, find your way and power through it is what I would say.
Thank you.
I think my question to you and your generation would be, what are your roots? And what do you want to spring from those roots?
Wow, I don't think that's a question to answer in a minute or two. But I think when you first said that, and you had spoken about the tree with the deep roots, and that's the foundation, the father, grandmother, great, what all those people that came before being the roots. I saw a huge, like an oak tree, you can see the roots go really, really deep. But sometimes when I think of this generation, and I'm not generalizing, but what I am tending to see is it's almost like an acacia tree. I don't know why. And it's small. I don't even think the roots are that deep. And if the wind blows hard enough, it will just go,
over.
And that's because I think, and I know there's a point in time when I did this up until I came to the realization that, wow, it's not just me and me. It's important. There's a lot to gain from where everybody has come from and everything that they've built, but you also have a responsibility to not let it die. And I think sometimes that's where we miss it. It's, you think it happened and now I start, and then mine happens and someone else's. No, because you have been in that lineage, there's so many things, not be it wealth or not wealth, that have been passed on to you just because you're there. And you do have a responsibility to make sure that it doesn't stop with you. So I'll think about it. But that was the first thing that came to my mind. I definitely see a very big turn and look at self as the end all and be all. But self does not exist without what came before. It really doesn't. It does not. And it can also end the same way if that's how you take it. So that's what.
So let me just put something in context. You cannot be an acacia tree from an oak tree.
Yeah.
You are the oak tree
You are
already.
the oak tree.
Exactly.
So what part do you want to play? And I think that's where perhaps even us, I'm not sure at your ages, that we were cognizant of that fact.
No.
Yeah.
We definitely weren't.
Yeah.
So I think you're
very
better
powerful.
That you're questioning it
that
at
you're
these
questioning, because us
ages.
guys, I'm telling you,
We were busy having fun.
We were busy having fun. We were raving. We were all the wrong things that was, but we were so distracted from the actual purpose of life. It is a miracle that we're here. But so it's good that but we're here. But I'm glad if you could start asking yourself those questions now, it will be such a and still have the fun that you need to have. But
the courage to learn and then to frame it your way.
Your way.
So nobody's asking you to follow our way. We're just
No.
saying learn, use the roots,
Mm-hmm.
and then go out knowing that you are the roots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have roots.
Wow, I think we've had a great conversation.
Very
Yes, we
great. I've
have,
enjoyed
and,
it.
Thank you
hope
so,
we've
so
made
much.
great
sense.
moderation, Ciku.
Yeah.
Proud of you.
Yeah.
Oh,
you've
wow.
done
Thank you
really
so
well.
much for joining us today. I hope you guys
Yes.
also have
I
enjoyed
hope
this
you have.
episode.
I hope you have.
And thank you so much for tuning into this season. As I said, I'm Ciku Mutahi, and this season has been Bridging the Generational Gap.